When Djokovic works with a tool like this, the band creates a constant pulling force that destabilizes the swing path. This is deliberate. The instability forces the wrist flexors, extensors, and pronators to work in a highly coordinated way. Djokovic's game depends heavily on his ability to maintain the shape of the racket face, even when redirected, stretched wide, or reacting late. The drill recreates those pressures in slow motion. As the band pulls backward or sideways, Djokovic must resist the tension with perfect alignment, making his wrist angle more controlled and his contact point more predictable when he transitions to real strokes on court. Another critical benefit is the strengthening of the deep forearm stabilizers around the elbow. Djokovic's longevity isn't just luck. He has spent years conditioning the smaller structures that protect the wrist and elbow from overload. Because the band applies resistance through the entire range of motion, the drill activates the muscles that control twisting and stabilizing, which are crucial for topspin generation, returns on the stretch, and late defensive flicks. This is one reason Djokovic can absorb pace better than almost anyone. His racket face doesn't collapse under pressure because those stabilizers are extremely well conditioned. In addition, this drill allows Djokovic to fine-tune the sequencing between his arm and torso. Even though the tool is small, the rotational movement still demands engagement from the obliques, hips, and lower back. Djokovic uses these motions to feel the coil and uncoil pattern of a compact swing, helping him maintain timing and fluidity when he transitions to faster full-speed strokes. The band exaggerates any technical flaw. If the wrist drops too early, or if the forearm rotates incorrectly, the band will pull the tool off its ideal path. Djokovic uses that feedback to sharpen the exact movement he wants. The drill also acts as a warm-up that blends mobility, strength, and neuromuscular activation. Instead of static stretching or generic gym work, Djokovic prefers tennis-specific loading. The resistance band tool provides precisely that, a way to wake up the wrist, elbow, and core in the exact pattern he'll use during rallies. Novak has always trained with a focus on precision and durability, and the work he does with weights reflects that same mindset. When he uses dumbbells, he approaches the movement with slow control, letting the forearm and upper arm muscles guide the motion rather than rushing through it. He keeps his posture tall, shoulders relaxed, and lets the arm move in a clean, straight path so every repetition builds stability and endurance in the areas he relies on most during long matches. The motion strengthens the structures that help him maintain a steady grip on the racket, absorb pace without losing control, and create the smooth acceleration he's known for when taking the ball early. Over the years, Djokovic has relied on this kind of focused arm training to protect his joints from the relentless demands of the tour. The small supporting muscles around the elbow and wrist often break down in players who hit heavy topspin or who must counter fast serves. But Djokovic's deliberate approach helps keep those areas conditioned and resilient. The movement also feeds into his ability to maintain rhythm during long rallies, because a stronger forearm doesn't fatigue as quickly, allowing him to preserve his trademark timing deep into matches. He usually performs the exercise with an attention to detail that mirrors the rest of his preparation. The tempo stays steady, his breathing stays calm, and the lift feels connected through the entire arm rather than isolated in one spot. This gives him a balanced kind of strength. Nothing exaggerated or bulky, just enough to reinforce the mechanics he uses on court. It's the same philosophy that has supported his longevity. Small, consistent refinements that build a foundation capable of handling intense competition year after year. This type of movement is the kind of footwork Novak Djokovic has relied on for years to sharpen his reactions and build the agility that defines his defensive game. The constant changes of direction force the legs to react instantly, which mirrors the way points actually develop in a match. Each time he circles a marker, he has to stay light on his feet, keep his hips low, and maintain balance even while accelerating and decelerating. Touching the red marker adds an extra layer of difficulty. It makes the movement more tennis-specific by training the body to drop into a low stance, similar to the way Djokovic slides into wide defensive positions or retrieves balls close to the ground. That lowering motion strengthens the quads, glutes, adductors, and the small stabilizers around the knees and hips. It also improves joint control, which is one of the reasons Djokovic can change direction so sharply without losing his balance. The drill also trains his nervous system. Moving around the blue cones engages rhythm and coordination, while the quick transition to the red cone builds his ability to make fast decisions under pressure. This helps him stay calm and stable even in chaotic rally situations. Another major benefit is stamina. Repeated stop-start movements elevate heart rate while keeping the motions short and explosive. This is the type of conditioning that helps Djokovic stay fresh during long baseline exchanges and recover instantly between points. When a Knoll swings a dual-grip medicine ball while moving through an agility ladder, it turns a simple footwork exercise into a full-body coordination challenge. The swinging motion forces the upper body to stay active while the lower body performs fast, precise steps. This creates a demand very similar to what Novak Djokovic trains for, a smooth connection between the core, hips, and legs, while the arms are performing a separate task. The medicine ball swing adds rotational load. Each time the ball moves from side to side, the core has to stabilize so the motion doesn't throw the body off balance. Djokovic relies heavily on this type of stability when changing direction or when he hits on the run, because his torso needs to rotate freely without collapsing the lower body. As the ball swings, the hips and shoulders must stay aligned, which trains the same patterns he uses to produce clean efficient rotation in his ground strokes. At the same time, the ladder work demands quick foot placement and rhythm. Alternating the landing leg makes the drill unpredictable. Each step requires the athlete to absorb force on a single leg, then immediately shift into the next hop. That alternating pattern mirrors the way Djokovic often transitions during rallies. Push off one leg, land on the other, recover, and accelerate again. The added weight of the medicine ball makes these transitions even more challenging because the swing of the ball constantly shifts the center of gravity. The combination of swinging the ball while hopping forward forces the body to manage multiple actions at once, rotating, stabilizing, balancing, and accelerating. This coordination under load is one of the hallmarks of Djokovic's physical preparation. It trains the ability to stay balanced even when the upper body is busy generating rotational force, which is exactly what happens during dynamic rallies, defensive slides, or last-second changes of direction. Novak Djokovic's movement pattern in this drill is a perfect example of how elite players refine the connection between footwork and stroke production. What makes this specific exercise so effective is the simplicity of the setup, contrasted with the precision it demands. He isn't hopping or bouncing aimlessly. He's executing tight, deliberate steps between the cones, each one forcing him to control his center of gravity and prepare his body for the shot that follows. Djokovic begins by positioning himself just behind the cone line, keeping his knees bent, his chest slightly forward, and his racket already in a ready position. This posture is intentional. It locks him into an athletic stance where every step matters. As he moves between the cones, he uses quick micro-steps, shifting weight efficiently from foot to foot. On clay, where sliding is part of the movement language, this drill reinforces clean, grounded steps without unnecessary glide. He's working on precision, not showmanship. The goal is to feel every inch of movement and to have full control of his balance. The cones act like miniature defenders. They force Djokovic to navigate tight spaces while staying composed. Because he is not hopping, every change of direction is done through a controlled shuffle, keeping his hips stable and his upper body steady. This matters because in tennis, balance determines shot quality more than raw power. When a player moves through cones like this, they learn to manage their foot placement even in uncomfortable or rushed positions. Djokovic is essentially teaching his body how to stay organized under movement stress. What separates this from casual cone work is how seamlessly he transitions from the footwork pattern into the actual stroke. As soon as he clears the final cone, he doesn't pause. He doesn't reset. He flows directly into a forehand swing. This is the critical part of the drill. The purpose is to simulate real match timing, where a player rarely has the luxury to settle before hitting. The legs finish their job and immediately hand off the chain of movement to the upper body. The swing he performs after the cone steps isn't full power, but it is technically sharp. His shoulders rotate cleanly, his arm stays relaxed, and his contact point remains stable. The intention is clear: train the body to hit a controlled stroke after controlled movement. In match play, this translates to better hitting while on the run, better balance after sudden direction changes, and more efficient energy use in long rallies. Another hidden benefit is rhythm training. Djokovic is building a pattern of small steps, balance, strike, recover. This reinforces a smooth rhythm between legs and arms, preventing the common mistake of separating movement from technique. For him, everything is one chain of motion.